Hello. We're going to be reading the book called The Lonely Scarecrow today. And this book is about the fall, about something that happens in the fall. So let's look at our front cover. Do you see anything that makes you think about fall? You see the leaves, how they change colors? That's one thing. What about this down at the bottom? When I see a pumpkin, that always makes me think about fall. Let's open our book. This is our title page. And we're going to read about the Lonely Scarecrow. Let me get you a little bit closer. There we go. All right. In the middle of a field, under a sky the color of cornflowers, stood a scarecrow. He had a scary face, but a kindly heart. More than anything, he wished that the animals and the birds would be his friends. Look closely. See how the animals are around, but they're not right next to him, are they? But the creatures of the field were afraid of the scarecrow's flapping coat and big black hat. They were afraid of his beady eyes, his crooked nose, and his jagged metal mouth. All right, let's look at that scarecrow. Are scarecrows supposed to look friendly? Are they supposed to look friendly to animals? What is the purpose of a real scarecrow? Think about that. The purpose of a real scarecrow is to scare the crows away, or the other animals away from the garden. Is to make animals think that that's a person walking around in the garden, so the animals won't eat your fruits and vegetables that are growing. In the spring, the scarecrow watched the animals play at the edge of his field. He watched the birds as they made their nest. He watched the carefree tumblings of fox cubs and rabbits. He listened to the noisy ducklings by the old pond. And all the time the animals watched the scary scarecrow. But they never came near. They're close to his field, but they aren't close to him. He can see them. They can see him, but they don't get too close. Each day the swaying feet in the field grew taller. The scarecrow lost sight of the animals. He lost even the happy song of the lark, drowned out by the whispering of the wheat. Marooned in his golden sea, the scarecrow lost hope of ever making friends. He is so lonely out there in the field, isn't he? That's one of the feelings that we have. We've talked about feelings before. We can be happy, we can be sad, we can be angry, we can be scared, we can be lonely. And lonely is a way of being sad. So he's sad and lonely. Then the combine monster came to harvest the wheat. That's like a big tractor sort of thing. The animals hid from its churning jaws and the ravaged acres of mud and stubble that it left behind. They also hid from the scarecrow, who stood alone now in the empty field. So now the scarecrow doesn't even have the wheat around him. He's out there in the field by himself without his wheat around. From the north came a sly breeze that stole the leaves from the trees and the light from the days. The animals hurried home to their warm burrows and cozy nests. So if the leaves are starting to fall and it's not as light anymore, and the animals are going to their warm burrows, I wonder if it's spring or summer or fall. I think it's fall. Remember in our book, Why Do Leaves Change Colors? We talked about how the leaves fall, how they leave the trees, and we also talked about how it gets light. The light is not there quite as long. It gets darker earlier and the temperatures drop. These animals are going to a warm burrow. So if they're looking for warmth, then they must be cold. So I believe that it's getting to be fall here where the lonely scarecrow is. And the scarecrow felt even lonelier, for he knew that winter would be coming. Winter comes after fall. Snow fell heavily one night and kept on falling. It fell on the bare, still woods and on the silent fields. Slowly it covered the ground where the scarecrow stood. So what season do you think it is now that there's snow everywhere? The trees are bare, it's really cold, and the snow is falling. I believe that would be winter. In the morning, the animals woke to a world that had changed. A big blanket of snow covered the frozen earth. The scarecrow seemed to have vanished too. In his place stood a jolly snowman. I want you to get a close look at that. That's the scarecrow. But the animals believe that he's a snowman now. The creatures played happily in the field, rolling and tumbling in the snow around the scarecrow. And the scarecrow, well, he was as cheerful and bright as the sunny, wintry day. So is he happy now, or is he sad? The scarecrow is happy that the animals are choosing to come and play with him, aren't they? They made a choice to come and play with their new friend. Although he was happy, the scarecrow was afraid of what would happen when he lost his snowy coat. He was afraid that the animals would shrink from his twisted shape. Most of all, he was afraid he would be alone again. And then the snow began to thaw. Well, if the snow is going away, it's getting warmer, isn't it? The snow slipped off the scarecrow's shoulders and dripped from the brim of his hat. When the last patches of snow fell from his face, the animals looked up in wonder. Could the friendly snowman be the same scary creature they had feared for so long? As the warmth of spring stirred the brown earth, the scarecrow felt a bird peck at his hat and a mouse nestle in the folds of his coat. And the scarecrow knew that he would never be lonely again. So look, what season is it now? It's getting warmer. We've had winter now where it was really cold, and now the snow started to melt away and it's warmer. Now it's spring. So now you see how the flowers are blooming in the spring. All right, there's some things I want you to think about with this book. I want you to think about the seasons of the Lonely Scarecrow. He had, right here, there was summer because the flowers were blooming and the crops were getting ready. And the animals were running and playing. Then the leaves started changing colors and falling to the ground. The light started getting less. It was darker. And it also got to be a little cooler. So then it was fall. Then the snow came and it was really cold. So it was winter. And then the last season was it got warmer and the snow melted away, and then it was spring. So our scarecrow started out in the summer and he was very lonely. And he went on to the fall and he was lonely. And then he went to the winter and he looked like a new person. A new scarecrow. He looked like a snowman. But he was really the same thing. The animals chose to be friendly then. Then in the spring, they chose to stay. So you know what? I think that the animals should have given him a chance to begin with, don't you? We shouldn't look at someone's outer qualities. We should look at their inner qualities. If they're nice to us, if they listen to the teacher and show respect to the teacher. Those are all good qualities. Being kind, those are good qualities. No matter what you look like on the outside, your inside can be good and kind. And just like the scarecrow, he had a good, kind heart. And so finally the animals realized that and they became his friends. So that was called the Lonely Scarecrow.